If you even barely show interest in films and haven't been living under the rock for the past few years, you've probably heard of Letterboxd, an online platform for cinephiles like me, where you can rate films, but not just that. You can also rank them in lists, tag them, add them to your watch list, write reviews, and so on. In my opinion, it's the best movie app there is, but in an app so big, there is no way it could be perfect without any flaws. So today I'm going to talk about some improvements that I personally think would make it even better. Let's get into it. Filtering, it works great to some extent, but when it comes to the genres, that's when it flops. For example, if you filter by comedy films, you get films like City Lights, SpongeBob, The Dictator, Fall Guy, and other actual comedies. But on the other hand, you get in the same group of films pictures like Babylon, The Cremator, Puss in Boots, The Apartment, 500 Days with Summer, and so much more. I get most of these films are satires, but not all of them, especially something like Lost in Translation. And seeing all these films in one group called comedy films isn't the way. We can say the same with fantasy and science fiction. I know Letterboxd sourced this info from much bigger database, but sometimes it gets a little bit out of control. Even when I am creating a list of best movies in specific genre, I always specify that I only count films that I personally think have the qualities to be in that genre. After I cried out with my genre problem, there is one more thing that Letterboxd actually should and could do, and that is filtering by country. Letterboxd already shows where each film is created when you click on details. And Australian film, I wouldn't know if I didn't have each film to make sure, and no one wants to do that. Also, how can I get to create a list where I would pick the best film from each country? But I can't do it also. How can I get to create it? I can't do it unless I get this filter. I don't know why it isn't there yet. Letterboxd has the info, so I don't know why it isn't there yet. Letterboxd has the info, so it wouldn't be that hard to add the function. Also, one last thing about filters that I can't move my head around is, it wouldn't be that hard to add the function. One last thing about filters that I can't move my head around is why there is a function to hide all documentaries, but not an option to show only documentaries. And let's move on to responsive design. If you don't know what that is, it's basically how the app looks on different screen sizes. Letterboxd has the mobile layout in the app and a PC version on browsers. But if you try to use it on a tablet or split screen your monitor, it becomes a total mess. As a computer science student, I do responsive design for mobile, tablet, and desktop layouts. And I honestly don't get how an app this big hasn't figured that out yet. I don't really mind it, but if I want to create a new list, I usually split my screen in two halves. The films I watched on the left, so I have the overview, and on the right side, the list where I can add films. This whole design can be annoying sometimes, and even if it doesn't limit day to day, use it could be a step to good. Tags and diary. Alright, this next one actually pisses me off a bit. So, when you log a film you've watched, you can add the date, and it goes into your diary, which is a cool idea. But I don't use it for one simple reason. When I first created Letterboxd, I had over 300 films that I wanted to rate. And because they were films from the last 1.5 years, I had no clue when I watched them, so I didn't put them in a diary. After that, I decided not to use it because half the films wouldn't be there, and half would. That isn't even the problem. But Diary comes with great features like tagging individual films. For me, I really want to create 3 simple tags: rewatchable, recommend, and don't like, and I could probably figure more out. The problem is that you can add a tag to a film only if you have it in a diary. No matter if you have seen it and rated it, you can't put a tag on it. And that's a core problem I'm trying to explain. For me, it is nearly impossible to put all my watched films in a diary. And even if I would started to do so, there are some films that I won't probably rewatch ever again. So there's no way in adding diary to every film I have ever seen. So I won't be able to tag my films. An easy solution would be that if you watch the film, you could add a tag to it even without the diary. Hope that all makes sense and you see where I'm coming from. Another feature I think would be amazing is being able to add directors, screenwriters, composers, etc. to lists. It wouldn't be hard at all because Letterboxd already has it in database and works with cast and crew all the time. And being able to create lists with them would bring so much new to the app. Just imagine making lists like my top 10 favorite directors, the most underrated writers, best actors of all time, best songwriters of our time, and so much more, literally endless possibilities. What I really like about Letterboxd is that you can read and find out new things about particular films. For example, the cast and crew tab or releases tab. There are also similar and related films and pinned articles that you can read directly in the app. But what I am really missing is a award tab. Like, I want to know if this film ever won anything, or if I watch a film and wonder to myself if that actor was nominated for it, and so on. This particular information should definitely be added as a new tab next to releases, and I think it would be far more useful and fun to look at than you think. Last 2 changes are small, but I would still appreciate it. First is to make clear understanding of how are the shows that are on Letterboxd picked. Most people say they are only miniseries or finished shows, but that isn't always the case. I don't rate shows at all because it feels unfair to rate some but not others. And it also gets messy having them mixed in with films on your profile. I would either make separate app or some kind of switch between film and show profile, because this is only confusing. At least if it will stay like this, there should be a sign that it is a TV show and not a film. It can get pretty indistinguishable, especially from longer films that have similar length. Last change that I would appreciate is to actually add right films to the right studios. For example, when I look at the A24 or Neon production on Letterboxd and on the internet, could be a whole different set of films. I sometimes get confused when I hear that it is A24 film, but it is not categorized as one on Letterboxd. Yeah, I can easily search it up, but when I am already on the app looking at some films, I don't want to turn it off and search it somewhere else. Don't know if this is some kind of bug or it is hard to do, but from my experience, when I click on specific studio, films from them are on Letterboxd and on the internet different. I just want to say I love Letterboxd. As a cinephile, it's the first thing I open after watching a movie. But nothing's perfect, and these are just some ideas that I'd love to see added or fixed. Let me know what you think, or if you have any ideas of your own.